Sometimes on this channel, we take a step back from our regularly scheduled programming about how I'm an old head who just wants the underground to return to its more intended purpose, you could say. And sometimes, like today, I'll decide to tell a story. Today's story, oh my god, I sound like artist and allegations. I was almost sued, and the artist himself actually took my video down about him. Then also messaged me and said he would beat my ass.
You went live and said you whoop niggas. You don't whoop niggas.
Now, for those of you who, have been around for what artist I'm talking about specifically, and now you know that this artist is about 150 pounds soaking wet. So I'm waiting for the day that I see him. On the other hand though, everything I speak about falls under fair use standards, and therefore you cannot take my video down because I'm just regurgitating information that was cited from actual sources. Also, we just hit 50 bands and I didn't have to follow trends or drop hip hop slop content under 16 inch. Instead of explaining
up in your bedroom,
I'm just gonna show you this real quick.
See if I snuck up in your bedroom, touch you while you sleep. Would you act surprised as if you didn't know it's me?
I'm gonna give it a buck. This is incriminating because I don't know who even thinks it's a freestyle. Who is this? Let me get in my mode.
Other than the one I just put in the beginning, even though that was more so of a warning. But instead of explaining why we're talking about this guy, I'm just gonna show you this real quick.
See if I snuck up in your bedroom, touch you while you sleep. Would you act surprised as if you didn't know it's me?
Yeah, he posted this with confidence.
Came to steal your heart, girl. Don't call the police.
Whoa,
what?
No. Oh, slow down.
You know what's even worse about that clip? This is surface level compared to all the weird shit he's been accused of and is literally known for doing. Not even scratching the surface yet, y'all. Now listen, chat. I don't give a fuck how old this is. This is like overly creepy as fuck. No matter when it came out, like, you gotta think about it. He was around 22 or 23 years old when this was filmed, bro. With him being born in 1984. At that point, right?
What do you mean?
I just personally feel like you should know a little better than to say something like this on camera. Like, song or not. By the way, this is Trey Songz, for those of you who didn't recognize him. Now, Trey Songz has a bit of a really crazy history that we're gonna get into. Like, this artist is insane. And y'all know how I operate. If you're new, maybe you don't. I don't get into the childhood of these artists unless it's super important. And in this case, it's not. I mean, all you really need to know about the younger years of Trey Songz is that he didn't even want to be an artist at first because he was too shy. Not too shy though, because once people started giving him recognition whenever he did sing, he started taking it more seriously. And after high school, he moved to New Jersey from Virginia to record his first album.
He's from Jersey?
That's literally all you need to know about his earlier days. I'm genuinely not interested in any of that shit though. Let's get to it. Trey Songz honestly reminds me a lot of Diddy. It's not even remotely a shock that they've worked together before either. When I say he reminds me of Diddy though, I don't mean he had tons of baby oil in his crib. I mean, like, he's one of those artists that just feels untouchable because he has a lot of connections and power. And I've said this before, but a crazy nigga with power, connections, money even, is a horrific combination. It's literally to the point to where even his accusers were scared to say anything and come forward because they would have to deal with those repercussions more than he would. It's sad, bro. What's even more sad is I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. Trey's songs have bangers. We can't sit here and act like the man isn't talented. He got to where he was for a reason. But the sad part is that because of all these allegations and lawsuits against him, he's fucked himself over. A classic case of user error, y'all. It's funny because when's the last time you really heard about Trey Songz?
I'm really trying to
and it had nothing to do with
I think the last Trey Songz song I heard was like, let me research. Trey Songz. Yeah. Oh yeah, ooh nah nah. Yeah, let me play that bit one time.
I just got a brand new car. Vroom vroom.
What?
Oh.
Yo, this is the what? Yo, I'm in a deep hole. let's get back to the
allegation, just music related. Probably a very long time, if you even knew about the allegations to begin with, by the way. The reason I'm even making this video was because I was talking to one of my homegirls and her birthday was coming up. I don't know why, but I started singing, "Go girl, it's your birthday." Oh,
he made that song?
I know you Thursday. And she was like, "I love that song. What happened to Trey Songz? Why don't he make music like that anymore?" And I was like, "You don't know this nigga is one of the most evil people in the music industry of all time?" And she was like, "No, but you can make a video on it." So here's the video on it. Like I said, I'm skipping over the come up. Plus, this video is going to be a little different since, I mean, he's not a rapper. This is an R&B guy we're talking about. And I hate to group all black people together, but if you're black, you've probably heard at least one song from this weird ass nigga at this point. Like I said, bro, bangers. I won't lie. But because those songs got as big as they did and he was seeing mainstream success, this nigga started getting cocky as fuck. Dissing R. Kelly, even though he literally helped him damn near get on by working on his debut album.
He dissed that boy,
Trey
R. Kelly in jail.
Saying auto-tune is dog shit, and anyone who uses it is basically garbage, and other stuff. And like I said, you know, when you make a lot of money and you're an overall insecure person, I guess, that just equates to you being a dick. A weirdo, because in 2012 he was at a strip club, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, allegedly, whatever, Trey Songz hit a woman named Donna with a wad of cash.
Wait, how do you read it again? Wait, no.
So hard.
Trey Songz arrested for in strip club throwing money had hit her in the eye.
That it literally left a black eye. He was arrested for this, and then later down the road, this case was settled outside of court.
Y'all know what that means.
That means Trey gave her some hushy-hushy money to shut the fuck up and not talk about this ever again.
Yeah,
too bad it's public record, nigga. I'm talking about it. Now, for 1 second, hold on. I want y'all to think, because this is still scratching the surface. Think about how hard...
Well, y'all taking Trey Songz or Netspin? I mean, that should be a clear question. Not one generation person these days knows what Trey Songz is.
I'm not laughing. Think about how hard you have to hit someone to leave a literal black eye. Just keep that in mind. He did that with a wad of cash. A woman, by the way. Just,
with
again,
the bread?
Out there. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, we could get into the whole Kevin Lyles conspiracy, which was Trey's manager for a long time. And the conspiracy there is that once Kevin Lyles pushed Trey Songz in that Hollywood direction, with the way he used his connections to make him bigger, you know, it's a lot to explain, but basically, Kevin Lyles lost his power at one point, stepping down from 300 Entertainment. And once he loses his power, Trey Songz loses power. But other than that, there was a rumor that there was a bit more going on between these two than just managing.
I said, like, when I got mad at Trey Songz, and I had said some shit like, I just went off on him. And like, that kind of shit is unacceptable.
Was it a true statement, though?
Yeah. It was definitely a true statement.
I gotta remember what this statement
but I couldn't. But I said he was fucking his manager.
Oh,
the dude?
Yeah, I said he was fucking his manager, and I said he some girl, and then all of a sudden now
I was not paying attention to the story, bro. Holy shit.
Years
allegedly.
Later, yeah, allegedly, right? Then later on, it turns out he the girl. So
now Orlando Brown is a very unreliable source for information.
No, he's not.
You gotta think though, he's not the only nigga that has alluded to this before. People definitely think something else was going on there, and then it's like, why would he even say that? Because he was mad at him, like he explained, but why would it go there? Oh, you're in a nasty relationship with your manager. What the hell? Why he say that? Well, there's also this.
I could say something about a Diddy party right now, but I don't know the rules of the game if I'm allowed to say it.
Say it.
You'll be okay.
Wait, what?
One of my boys, a social media influencer, this was early, back in like 2018.
What's one of your boys?
I'm not going to expose him because he said some viable shit, but he was at a Diddy party and they invited him to Diddy's room. He walks in, Trey Songz was sitting on Diddy's lap making out with him, and they asked him if he wanted to join.
I saw this clip.
That gotta be, no, ain't no way.
They're all gay. They're all undercover gays. I promise you that. I promise you that.
You know, this is a he says, she says situation, but again, why of all people would the name Trey Songz be brought up in a situation like that? You just gotta wonder.
I mean, he look a little...
Trey Songz's career is very ironic, if that makes sense, right? Because here's the thing. Like, he's supposed to be this R&B heartthrob sex symbol, mainly catered towards women, and yet He's associated with Diddy, probably done crazy shit with his manager along the, more suspect lines, and beats women, allegedly, by the way. But what's not alleged and literally on camera is a video of him at a show where his set apparently was cut short
Trey Songz arrested after Joe Louis Arena.
You didn't allow artists to perform past 11:30. So guess what he chooses to do in front of an entire crowd? Have a little hissy.
Yeah, the singer that was arrested is Trey Songz. His real name is Tremaine Neverson. Now, last night he was on stage with other big stars like Chris Brown, putting on a show here where we are this morning at the Joe Louis Arena. In Detroit, there's a rule. You can't actually perform past 11:30. So when he was told up on stage that the set was going too long, well, he went on and told the audience that if they turned his mic off, he would go off. Well, they did, and he did.
Go off.
Take a listen. Yeah, this is video that was uploaded to Instagram by someone that goes by the name Jackpot the Juice. You actually see Songz tearing down that plexiglass inside the Joe. Now, police are telling 7 Action News he was also throwing items around, and that's how their officer was struck. That officer actually suffered a concussion. The good news here, we have been told that that officer has since been released from the hospital. But as a result of all the hoopla that you're seeing on your screen here, Songz was taken into police custody. I'm told this morning that he's facing 2 charges. 1, resisting or obstructing an arrest. The second, malicious destruction of property.
Now, my only thoughts on this specific thing is like, why do people not look at stuff like this on a deeper level? Like, this is the work of a nigga who does not have his emotions under control. And that's a nigga to look out for. If you're willing to cause actual damage on stage in front of hundreds of people because you're mad, on camera by the way, there is absolutely no telling what he would do if he was by himself or alone with somebody else. Like Keke Palmer. Now, for those of you who may not know, Keke Palmer and Gay Songz used to actually be friends at one point. That was until 2017, where Keke had accused him of using sexual intimidation against her. Also, she could appear in a music video for him.
What did you mean by sexual intimidation?
Oh, I just had that question.
I mean, just that. Sexual intimidation. You know, I mean, like, I feel as a female, often I'm put in situations where sometimes males will use their masculinity, their sexuality to taunt you. You know, I hate to have to bring and say that and make it known, but I mean, look, I ain't the first person that's gone through. People have gone through this all the time. In college, in high school, but these aren't the things that I've experienced. So this was like kind of one of my first major experiences. You know, it would be like you going to a party where the biggest jock is there, and the whole time he's like, you know, you can get screwed, you can get this, you can get that, you know, and you ain't no little girl no more.
Now, even though she kind of explained it, I just have to say that sexual intimidation can be a very gray subject because a lot of people don't even really know what that means, but it's basically just, to put it simply, intimidating someone just sexually. Using who you are as a man or woman in order to get someone to do something.
I just peeped. I'm trying to remember how to screenshot because this is something I need to zoom in on. Why does this thing go up and down? Looks like kid you.
For you through manipulation and coercion. It's a lot of things that could really fall under, but long story short, Gay Songz did that to Keke Palmer. Yeah, we're still going, by the way. Knowing everything you know now though, if you didn't already, do you think he deserves prison? No?
Nah, well, I think he does though. That's
after the Keke Palmer incidents, other women actually decided to speak out against him because this type of behavior from this weirdo is not super uncommon. It just seemed like it was because we already spoke about how he's a quote-unquote powerful guy in the industry. In 2018, he was arrested at his crib in LA for DV against a woman named Andrea. She said he knocked her down, choked her, and punched her.
R&B singer Trey Songz is accused of attacking a woman during the NBA All-Star Weekend here in Los Angeles.
Well, today she told her story. CBS 2's Lisa Siegel has her words as well as what the artist's attorney has to say.
I was crying, terrified, in shock.
For the first time, the woman accusing Tremaine Neverson, also known as Trey Songz, of beating her so badly she ended up with a concussion, is speaking out about what happened the morning of February 17th. Her name is Andrea Buera.
I was attending an after party when Trey began yelling at me.
Amen. All males from the chat, let me get a W mail. Do not do this. It's not. Shit.
Choking.
Do not do this though.
Me, punching me, and ultimately he knocked me to the ground.
Her attorney, Lisa Bloom, says the two had been friends for years, and he seemed to become enraged when she began talking to one of his friends.
I had to go to the hospital because he hit me so hard that I had a concussion.
Guerra says the next day she had dark bruises on her body, face, and neck. Last week, she got a restraining order against Songz.
Trey Songz, you picked on the wrong woman this time.
Yeah,
Bloom
boy.
says Songz has a history of allegations dating back at least a decade of verbally and physically assaulting others.
Now, if y'all were paying attention, I'm gonna tell you why I personally would have thrown the book at this nigga.
Why?
Apparently, they had been friends for a minute, and as soon as she started talking to one of his friends on a deeper level, that really pissed him off. And with an ego as fragile as his, I could definitely see why he gave her the DOA special for this. Not saying I agree, but I'm saying I completely see this playing out in my head. Probably something like this. Also, another goddamn concussion. How hard does this nigga punch? You're
he must
clearly
have
in the
that
wrong
shit,
industry, bro. Still think he doesn't need prison though, huh? That exact same year, another woman accused him of attempting to put his fingers inside of her without her consent at a Miami nightclub. And another woman from that same club, by the way, accused him of groping her. Surprise, surprise, without consent. I mean, Tremaine, what is wrong with you? All alleged, by the way, but like, when it's this much, is it?
Oh shit. I'm tripping. I just got something to say real quick. All y'all people, I know some people do it for fashion, some people do it because they want to be a thug, but you can't have your butts hanging out if it looks like 2 pieces of chocolate cake. And I'm gonna keep it a buck, like you're gonna track the zesty bows at that point. I just have to get off my chest. But he probably likes that though. Let's get back into the game.
More like Tremaine never asked for a consent. But let me guess, you still somehow think, nah, he doesn't deserve prison.
He does.
First of all, I'm gonna look at you a
all.
little crazy at this point. But second, I'm not even gonna play the clip, partially because Selena Powell, of all people, is a horrendous witness. Like, sometimes I don't be believing a fucking word that comes out of her mouth. If you know, you know. But she did make an almost 20-minute video with her friend and went on 2 separate podcasts alleging that gay Songz kidnapped her by taking her phone while she was with him, and I'm not even gonna get into it. Just, you know what? Hold on.
One of the nastiest things you've ever done. Let's hear it.
I got too. Not
Peed
bad.
on.
Not bad. I didn't know what was happening. He just did it. He just like.
Please say who?
Fuck Trey Songz. I don't give a
Wait, how did he surprise you on you? What?
Okay, so I go to the bathroom to wipe my face, like in between rounds. He follows me in there. He's like, get in the bathtub. I'm like, oh.
Wait, we're not done either. This woman named Winter Blanco that was on BGC, which is Bad Girls Club, accused gay Songz of physically assaulting her. Do I need to roll the clip?
I mean,
of course I do.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was friends with Trey Songz for years, and he never did anything to me either. And then one day he did, and he put his hands on me, and I never talked about it. This is the first time I've ever talked about this publicly. I really don't give a fuck anymore. He put his hands on me, scared the fuck out of me, and I never said anything. I never went to the police. I never answered the lawyers' calls when they was calling. I never tried to get some money out of it, because at the time it was girls settling for $100,000, $200,000, and I never did it. In in 2020, I had, when that girl came out saying that he raped her, I had her lawyer like reach out to me and was like, we're getting this stuff together and like we want you to be a part of it. And I was like, I can't be a part of it. But like now kind of where I am in my life is like, I'm tired of letting abusers get away with so much shit.
So like at this point, are we starting to get the gist that alleged or not? How does all of this stuff get on your name specifically, bro? Like, it gets to a point.